Welcome to the Deep Focus Update. Don't forget to subscribe and click the bell icon for more updates and thrilling short scenes. On October 9, 2025, Beijing sent shockwaves through the world by dramatically expanding its export controls on rare earth elements, materials that are absolutely vital to the backbone of modern technology and military power. These minerals are the hidden engines behind everything from smartphones and electric vehicles to advanced missile systems and fighter jets. Without them, entire industries would grind to a halt, and the global balance of power could shift overnight. This was no warning shot. It was a direct strike at America's industrial and defense core, threatening the very foundation of U.S. manufacturing and military readiness. The move was calculated, designed to maximize pressure on Washington at a moment of heightened tension. China's new rules zeroed in on the most sensitive sectors: defense and semiconductors, industries where the U.S. is most vulnerable to supply disruptions. The timing was no accident. The announcement came just weeks before a high-stakes Trump-Xi summit, raising the stakes for both leaders. The message from Beijing was unmistakable. Continued U.S. trade aggression would be met with a chokehold on the very materials that power American innovation and military might. China added 5 more rare earths to its restricted list, tightening its grip on the global supply. Now, Beijing controlled 12 out of the 17 key elements, giving it unprecedented leverage over the world's most advanced economies. The new controls didn't stop at raw materials. They extended to refining technology and intellectual property, making it even harder for foreign companies to find alternatives. Any foreign company using Chinese rare earths or related technology now needed a Chinese export license, subjecting global businesses to Beijing's approval. This move extended Beijing's reach across global supply chains, forcing companies and governments worldwide to rethink their dependence on China. The era of cheap, unrestricted access to China's critical resources was over. Prices soared, factories scrambled, and uncertainty rippled through markets. The world had entered a new phase of economic warfare, one where control over invisible minerals could decide the fate of nations. Rare earth elements, 17 metals not truly rare but rarely concentrated, are the hidden drivers of our modern world. They power everything from smartphones and MRI machines to electric vehicles and wind turbines, thanks to their unique magnetic and electronic properties. Without them, the green energy revolution and much of today's technology would stall. In the military, rare earths are even more critical. They enable precision-guided missiles, advanced radar, stealth aircraft, and secure communications. Their integration into nearly every advanced weapon system means any supply disruption is a direct threat to national security. The global balance of power now hinges on access to these elements. That's why China's move sent shockwaves far beyond the trading floor. China's announcement sent shockwaves through the Pentagon, putting the entire U.S. defense establishment on high alert. The news was not just a diplomatic concern, it was a wake-up call that exposed a critical vulnerability at the heart of America's military power. An urgent internal review revealed a staggering fact. 78% of U.S. military systems, from advanced fighter jets to communication satellites, rely on rare earth components. These elements are essential for everything from targeting systems to stealth technology. For decades, the U.S. chose to outsource rare earth mining and processing to China, lured by lower costs and fewer environmental regulations. Now, that decision is coming back to haunt the Pentagon, as it faces the consequences of this deep dependency. China's new export rules explicitly deny licenses for military uses, effectively imposing a direct embargo on the U.S. defense industry. This move threatens to choke off the supply of critical materials for flagship weapon systems like the F-35 fighter jet, the Aegis combat system, and Abrams tanks. Even the Virginia-class submarines, which form the backbone of America's naval deterrence, depend on rare earths for their advanced sonar, propulsion, and weapons guidance systems. Precision munitions, such as GPS-guided artillery shells, owe their pinpoint accuracy to these rare materials. Without them, the effectiveness of U.S. firepower could be severely compromised. This overwhelming dependency is nothing short of a national security nightmare. America's technological edge, painstakingly built over decades, is now vulnerable to decisions made in Beijing. With a single policy change, China holds a powerful lever to disrupt or even halt production of America's most advanced defense assets, from fighter jets to missile systems. rare earths have become more than just industrial materials. They are now tools of geopolitical coercion, giving China unprecedented influence over global security dynamics. The Pentagon must now confront a sobering reality. Its vast arsenal, and by extension America's military supremacy, is at the mercy of its chief rival's strategic decisions. The stakes have never been higher. President Trump's response was immediate and incendiary. He denounced China's move as economic aggression and vowed the U.S. would not be held hostage. Within hours, he announced 100% tariffs on all remaining Chinese imports, effective November 1, 2025, doubling prices overnight. Trump also imposed new export controls on critical U.S. software destined for China, creating chaos for Chinese tech firms. The U.S.-China economic relationship was pushed to the brink of collapse. Trump threatened to cancel his summit with Xi, turning a chance for dialogue into another battleground. The world watched as two superpowers escalated their standoff, with global stability hanging in the balance. The trade war had become a public high-stakes contest of wills. China's move wasn't impulsive, it was a calculated gambit in a long-running economic chess match. For years, Beijing watched the U.S. use sanctions and tech controls to contain China's rise, especially in semiconductors. By weaponizing rare earths just before the Trump-Xi summit, China aimed to maximize leverage and force concessions. The new controls weren't meant as a permanent embargo, but as a bargaining chip to extract U.S. trade concessions. By targeting not just the elements but also refining technology, China ensured its dominance would be hard to challenge. Officially, China claimed the move was for world peace, but state media made clear it was a direct response to U.S. pressure. Beijing's dual messaging maintained plausible deniability while signaling resolve. It was strategic ambiguity at its finest, a masterstroke in the global economic game. China's rare earth ban triggered a frantic U.S. scramble to secure its own supply chain. The White House ordered urgent reviews, revealing America's dangerous dependence on its chief rival for critical materials. The U.S. response punished China with tariffs and export controls, while pouring billions into building a domestic rare earth industry. Investments in companies like MP Materials aimed to break China's monopoly on high-performance magnets for military hardware. Lawmakers called for a Manhattan Project for rare earth independence, but the challenges are immense. Environmental regulations, a shortage of technical expertise, and China's cost advantage make rebuilding difficult. Even with massive support, competing with China's decades-old ecosystem won't be easy. The U.S. and allies are racing against time to build alternative supply chains. The path is fraught with technical, financial, and political obstacles. The rare earth conflict marks a pivotal turning point in U.S.-China relations, sending shockwaves through the global economy and forcing nations to reconsider their place in a rapidly changing world. It signals the dawn of a new era, one defined by economic fragmentation, where old alliances are tested and new rivalries emerge. In the immediate aftermath, global markets plunged, erasing trillions in value almost overnight, as investors around the world feared an all-out collision between the world's two largest economies. Yet amid the chaos, rare earth stocks soared to unprecedented heights, reflecting a market now split into two distinct blocks, one led by China, determined to secure its dominance in critical materials, and the other by the U.S. and its allies, rallying together to protect their own interests and supply chains. The crisis exposed the hidden dangers of hyper-globalization, revealing just how vulnerable the world had become to supply shocks and political tensions. It underscored the folly of relying on a single nation for resources that are essential to modern technology and defense. Economic interdependence, once celebrated as a path to peace and prosperity, is now being recast as an arena for strategic competition and conflict. Nations and companies alike are being forced to choose sides and to redesign their supply chains for a world that is increasingly fractured and uncertain. Even if a short-term deal is reached to ease tensions, the drive for secure, independent supply chains will only intensify as nations seek to insulate themselves from future shocks. The battle for rare earths is just the beginning, a harbinger of broader struggles over technology, energy, and influence. The future of global power will be defined by who controls the resources and supply chains that shape the 21st century, setting the stage for a new geopolitical order.